Good morning, good morning, and welcome to Friday, I think, whatever day it might be, one of those days in the week. It's been a good week. We've had a good week this week. And date day to Chichester, bought lots of bread, cakes, cheese, all the good stuff. Did a bit of culture this week, been to a couple of museums. It's been a good week, welcome. Say hello in the comments, obviously, if you are watching, as usual. Hi, Kerry. You were here nice and early. Good morning, Sue. Yeah, definitely a good week this week. Good morning, Kerry. Youngest has been volunteering at Fishbourne Roman Palace this week. So he's been dressed as a Roman. He's been very impressed. Making all kinds of fabulous things. If you get a chance to visit Fishbourne Roman Palace over in Chichester, do. It's a fascinating place.
He won't be there in his toga anymore.
He won't be there in his toga, no. At the moment. Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, Lizzie. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Senia. Having breakfast and glorious coffee. Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Trudy. Good morning, Marianne. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Leslie. Good morning, Christine. Wedding photos are beautiful. Congratulations, Em. Oh, thank you. Yes, that was the other good thing this week. Emma and Vaughan's wedding photos all came through. They are amazing. The photographer has done an absolutely stunning job, as did the florist who did all the flowers. We kind of left him to it, and that's what he did. So absolutely stunning. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, Andrea. So yeah, it's been a bit of a Roman week this week with youngest at Fishbourne. He has absolutely loved being a volunteer there, in his element. I think he'd actually prefer to go there every day than go to college, but that's not happening. Good morning, Emma. Thank you, Xenia. Yes, our eldest's wedding photos. They were fabulous. Good morning, Sasha. Good morning, Karen. Good evening, Sephora over on the other side of the globe. Good morning, Jackie. Xenia, Roman week sounds great. It's a Roman palace. It's in Chichester. It's Fishbourne Roman Palace. Discovered when the council dug a hole in a field to lay a water pipe. And there they discovered an enormous Roman palace with some of the oldest mosaics in Britain, apparently. There's about 60 of them or something ridiculous they found. Fascinating place. Absolutely fascinating. Good morning, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie. Very pre-Raphaelite today. Comfortable is the word we're looking for. Thank you. Helen just finished a night shift, so a bit bleary-eyed. Oh, hats off to you. I've never had to do a night shift. I'm not sure I'd last. I'm usually in bed by 7:30, so, I wouldn't be any good at night shifts.
That's ready to go when you want to.
Thank you. Good morning, Colin. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, everyone. Oh, let's do them first then. So let's get these out of the way first. What have we got coming up? I have no idea. I can't remember.
Kitchen Witch Ritual.
Okay. Kitchen Witch Ritual.
Sunday the 19th.
Thank you. Sunday the 19th of March, we have a Kitchen Witch Ritual. I have my pipe cleaners and my googly eyes at the ready. There's a craft. I will be with the girls at Wild Witchcraft Conference in Horndean in Hampshire on Saturday 25th of March. Looking forward to that. It's always a brilliant conference, always great fun. Myself and the girls will also have a stall at the Wandering Witches Fair Saturday 15th of April. There'll be a few books to sell and we'll be there to chat and just generally catch up with people. I'm running several courses with the College of Psychic Studies, all online. I'm doing one at the moment, but there's a new one starting in April as well on the elements. There's another one as well coming up in June, so about moon magic. So do have a look. Stuff. Have a look at my event page on my website. If any of that didn't make sense, keep an eye on the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook page too, because that's where we post stuff. So we are doing all kinds of things. And of course, keeping up with the online stuff as well. There you go. I think that's it. Maria, favourite subject. Yep. Lots of people over the past few months really have talked about curses and bindings. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Janet, love your blouse. Thank you. It's actually a frock. It's actually a dress. And it's very comfortable. Xenia, we will see you at other things. And it's lovely that you're at the online things as well. Charlie, photos are beautiful. Yes, thank you. Roman history. I do love Roman history. I'm fascinated because Roman history in Britain, for me, because it links in with all of the ancient Britain deities that I've been researching. It's helped me kind of make sense of a bit of stuff. Googly eyes. Yes, we have googly eyes in the craft for the March online Kitchen Witch Ritual. Good morning, Sue. So, yeah, there you go. Curses, hexes, bindings today. Thoughts on those? Good morning, Leslie. Yeah, any thoughts on those? What do you think about curses? What do you think about bindings? Are we okay with them? Are we not okay with them? Has anyone done any? Did you have good results, bad results? That's what we're talking about today. So let's get a hex on. Can you tell I haven't had my coffee yet?
Yes. Now I've done my work. It's coming.
Lizzie's watching with the black cat on your chest. Best way to watch, obviously. Eric's asleep on his beanbag. Maria's really, really excited about today's subject, I can tell. Christine, I have a shelf in my freezer full of bindings. That's got to be the simplest, most straightforward thing, hasn't it? A freezer spell. Freezer spell is writing someone's name on a piece of paper and putting it in your freezer. What it does is hopefully stop them from doing whatever it is that they're doing that's causing you harm. Doesn't hurt the person, doesn't harm them physically. It just stops them doing whatever they're doing that's causing you grief. It's got to be the simplest binding spell of all. You can take it further and you can get an image of the person or use a puppet to represent them. And then coffee. You can coffee, that'd be lovely. Okay. Thank you. You can take a representation of the person, whether it is a photo, whether it's a puppet, and by puppet you can use a potato or a carrot. It doesn't have to be a fancy sewn created puppet. It can be something as simple as a potato. Really, it can, just as long as you identify that is the person. And bind it with twine, bind it with string, bind it with sellotape, gaffer tape. Gaffer tape's brilliant stuff. Duct tape, for those that are not familiar with the term, and literally bind it. And that doesn't harm the person, doesn't cause any physical harm. It just stops them from causing you further grief. Very straightforward. So let's have a look. Good morning, Jane. I'm trying to order a witch for every season from Book Depository, but they won't accept either of my bank cards. Oh, that's strange. Just got one on Amazon. Yes, it's in stock on Amazon now, Jane. Hurrah! At last. Thank you for persevering. Right, let's get some of these up. Kerry, done a couple of freezer spells which have been successful. I mean, obviously, once you've written the name on it and put it in your freezer, you've got to add your will and intent to that. Just writing the name and putting it in the freezer is okay, but you've got to add your energy to it. You've got to put that will and intent into it that you want to make it happen. Spells, whether they are good spells, bad spells, curses, whatever, need your energy to back it up. Colin, curses can rebound on you if you're not careful. Yeah, bindings and curses are two different things. Curses are about putting negative energy out there. Curses are where you want to hurt someone. You want to cause someone harm. Only you can decide whether you want to put that kind of energy out there. You may feel that the situation warrants it. I think as long as you take responsibility for that, it's your call to make. There may be a situation where you feel that it is the only option. As long as you take responsibility for putting that out there, then it's absolutely your call to make. I don't think it is a decision anyone else can make for you. But yeah, you've got to take responsibility for that. Lizzie, I've done bindings and found them successful. Yes, I haven't cursed, but I have done bindings and I have found them to be successful. I think they are a very good way of stopping someone from harming you without harming them. Leslie, I froze my ex. Not literally. Yeah, you need big chest freezer for that. But you can only fit one body in at a time. I'm just saying. Stopped him being a pest. Yeah, it works. Sephora, what did they do in the days before freezers? A good question. Very good question. Well, I think in the long days before freezers, back in the days when there were wild women, wild men, cunning folk, they did work with curses. There wasn't the whole karma, understanding, return of three, whatever you want to call it. They dealt with things. It was a very practical, hands-on kind of life, and they would have cursed. And that places like the Boscastle Witchcraft Museum, you can see all of the curses that were put into place, literally puppets and all sorts of things where they have set curses into motion. I think it was different world. Oh, I thought I turned my phone down. Forgot that, didn't I? Good old Eurythmics shouting away. Oh, coaster. Hang on.
You didn't say you wanted toast as well.
Columbo's on his way.
It's not hot, don't worry.
Trust me, I am high maintenance.
No comment from the other side of the desk.
Jackie. Steve says gaffer tape. Yeah. We always called it gaffer tape. I think it's officially called duct tape. Maria, freezer, bindings, candles. Yes, please, Pete. Yeah, come on, get the coffee going. Xenia, if people keep walking over your boundaries and keep harassing and harming, though you repeatedly told them not to, binding is absolutely legit. It is magical self-defense. That's a very good way of putting it, actually, Xenia, isn't it? It is magical self-defense, and you are absolutely within your rights, I believe, to do so. My thoughts, anyway. Yeah, it is. It's about protection, isn't it? It's about keeping yourself and your family and those that you love safe. So, yeah, absolutely. Collins is white with a sweetener. Sweeteners are nasty. Oh, give me sugar every time. Maharet, I've done both with good results. Some secondary results were somewhat unexpected, however. Now, that's an interesting point, isn't it? And I do say this with all spells. It doesn't matter what you put out there. It doesn't matter how you work a spell, how you word it, what you add to it. Spells have a way of going off on unexpected tangents. I don't think it matters how carefully you work with a spell. It will quite often go off and do its own thing. Whether it is because the spell wasn't quite right, and I've done that myself before now, whether it was just the universe stepping in, because the universe is a total git most of the time. However, it does usually know what's better for you. And as I've said it before, and I will say it again, what you want isn't always necessarily what you need. So quite often the universe will step in and change things as it goes along. But all spells, good, bad, ugly, whatever they might be, do have a habit. Oh, we're singing now. They have a habit of going off in unexpected directions. I think here we are back to taking responsibility for whatever it is that might happen. Christine, I like thinking I'm sending the evil eye. The evil eye look. Yeah, it's the granny weather wax stare. That's what it is. Kerry, I've used one of those mini worry dolls. You usually get a pack of 5. Oh, the little tiny, they are worry dolls, aren't they? They're little tiny things, aren't they? God, how much patience must it take to make one of those? Good idea, Kerry. Very good idea. Jane, freezer spells are great. They bind like a straitjacket. Yeah, I like to speak sternly to it each time I pass the freezer. I love it. Straitjacket is a very good analogy. That's what it does. It stops that person from doing what they were doing. Lizzie, bonkers neighbour damaged my car. Boo. No video evidence. So I wiped the handle of her car door and used that for a binding. Hangs in my cupboard and I remind it every now and then. Excellent. Very, very useful. Very good thinking there, Lizzie. Good thinking. Denise, good morning. A book turned up last week. Yes, Amazon have finally got themselves into gear. And they have stock of, I got one here. They do have stock of A Witch for Every Season.
Is that a new book then?
Bless them. Bless them, bless them.
How many books this year coming out?
3 books coming out this year. Just because you can't shut me up, really.
Tell them what they are then.
Oh, I can't remember. There's a candle.
They're behind you, most of them.
Candle Magic. I don't have a copy of that yet. Candle Magic, Practical Candle Magic. That's coming out the end of the year.
Gods and Goddesses.
Yes, I love this one. Love this one. Gods and Goddesses of England. That comes out in June, around the time of the summer solstice. This one's from Moon Books. So there won't be any problem getting that one. This was fascinating to work with. Absolutely loved that one. And the other one that's coming out in, I want to say November, is that one, The Element of Water. 3rd one in the Element series. Earth and Fire are already out. So that one comes out.
6th one in the Witchcraft series.
I've lost track. I think we're up to about 25 books now or something. Oh, no, it's more than that, isn't it? I think that'll make 27, I think. Who'd have thought I had so much waffle, eh?
Nearly 10 years.
Yes, 10 years. I celebrate 10 years this month. Next week celebrates the publication of Pagan Portal's Kitchen Witchcraft, the first book I ever wrote. So I've been doing this shenanigans for 10.
28 books in 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years now. I've been a witch for longer. I've been a witch for 30 years or something, a bit longer than that. But yeah, 10 years of writing books. It's mad. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. See, we've already gone off tangent already. That's pretty quick for us. Charlie, tend to think of movies and books, fairy tales and curses are put on the bad person, frequently a witch. So subconsciously think they're bad. Can you put a curse on a person in a good way? A curse is actually wishing them harm. So if you wish a person harm, then that is negative energy, isn't it? So as long as you are responsible for that, as long as you believe that it's warranted, then that's your decision to make. And I mean, you can think of some really bad people. There are some really bad people in the world. Whether you believe they warrant a curse and you are going to take responsibility for it, totally your call. I would say, though, make sure that the person you're directing any curse at is actually the right person. Make sure that you got your facts straight. No, a curse is wishing harm on someone. So whatever way you look at it, that's not a bad thing necessarily, depending on what they've done. But again, take responsibility for it. Jackie, I've done successful bindings. I think it is for me, it's the way to go. Bindings are very, very successful. I don't feel the need or haven't felt the need to curse people because a binding has always done the job. If I were pushed in certain situations, if someone had caused my children harm, real harm, I don't know. I may well think further on than that. But only you can make the decision, I think. Maria, I've done one with neighbours where I stand at my door and make a circle with both hands where it's opened my side and then the circles meets to close it their end to keep them out of my space. That's protection, isn't it? And I think we are absolutely within a right to protect ourselves. Christine, I found that laughing at someone who ails, it has always come back on me. I did it with a woman who was pregnant at the same time as me. I won't go into details, but it ended up happening to me. It's interesting, isn't it? I think when you do start looking into these things, and maybe because we have a different way of looking at things as witches, as pagans, whatever we might be, spiritual people, you do sometimes look back at situations and think, why did that happen to me? And then you look back a bit further and think, yeah, I did that to someone else, didn't I? Yeah, I have had that situation myself, Christine, where I've thought, oh, this is rubbish. Oh, actually, this is payback. This is payback because I've done it myself. Life lessons, hopefully we learn from those. Xenia switched. Oh, Facebook. Yeah, if your Facebook is jumping about, YouTube is apparently much more stable. Jane, before freezers, they probably stabbed a poppet with an icicle. You never know. You never know. I know maybe they put curses under something heavy. That's what I would do. I think I would put it under a great big rock or a brick or something. Yeah. Maria, I've inscribed on a purple candle on a Thursday, Jupiter, to keep a person out. Very wise. Christine, apparently some scratched curses on church walls. Yeah, you can understand that, can't you? Glorious coffee, Xenia. Yes, I have glorious coffee. It is superfood coffee. It's got all sorts of things in it. Eye of Newt and stuff like that. Kerry, I think as long as your intentions are justified, curses and hexes are okay. I have done a couple, can't give details, but it seemed to be the only way forward, and thankfully it resolved both situations. And I think that is all about taking responsibility. I actually, when I was writing the Spells and Charms book, I looked up the difference between curses and hexes. And it seems to be that a hex is a general spell. It can be good or bad. It's just the term for casting magic. Curses are definitely negative. They are about wishing harm to someone. But we tend to hex to me, hex sounds bad. It sounds like it's putting negative stuff out there, but it's not. Hex is just a casting a spell, basically. But curses are the ones that, well, actually, we call it a curse when we swear, don't we? So that kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's about taking responsibility, I think. And then maybe thankfully, touch wood, I haven't had to, or haven't been in that situation where I felt the need. But I wouldn't ever rule it out. You just got to take responsibility for it. So goodness, he's trained well. Could you send him to this house and train my hubby? There's a new job opportunity for you. You could train husbands. Sue, he is. My mum says every home should have a Pete. He puts up with an awful lot, Sue, but we won't tell him that because he does. I'm very high maintenance. Emma, wonder, do you add freezer bindings in a different shelf from your food? And if not, would it affect your food otherwise? I think it is wise to have a little space in your freezer to you need a chest freezer for a body. We don't have a chest freezer. It's not, we don't have the space. We'll just have to bury them in the garden. Yes, I would keep them separate. A little plastic tub. A little plastic tub for my frozen chilies and a little plastic tub for the bindings. I think it's wise, Emma, to just keep them in their own little thing. You don't want to take a pizza out and cook it and find that you've got someone's name stuck to the bottom of it, do you?
Oh, you might.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, that's true. Sephora, does it work with family members? You can bind anybody, Sephora. Yeah, you can bind anybody. It doesn't matter. Jackie, I suppose we could look at it from levels, dealing with things. When bindings don't work or stop the problem, then maybe a curse or hex is required if, as you say, we take responsibility for it all. Sometimes you have to get down and dirty if the situation is dire. Do you know, I think this is going back to a couple of weeks ago when we talked about whether witchcraft is black or white. Witchcraft is a magical practice. It is the person and their intent that makes it good, bad, grey, in between, outside, whatever it might be. It's your will and intent that sends that. Bindings are brilliant. I have never had to step further than a binding because they have worked. If they didn't, and it was a dire situation, particularly if it involved my children and protecting them, then I'm a witch. I would absolutely do it. But it is about taking responsibility for what you're putting out there. Charlie, I've always believed what energy you put out will come back to you. So if you curse someone, you're kind of cursing yourself energetically. My fear is it creates a bond connection with that person. Two separate things there. Yes, I believe the same, Charlie. If whatever you put out there, words, actions, they will come back to you, or they tend to come back to you in my experience. If you're a nice, decent person and you treat people fairly, then they'll treat you fairly, generally. It is, and as Christine has said, and I echoed that, there have been situations where I have been attacked by someone or something has happened to me, and I have realized that I've done the same previously to someone. So there is that pattern, and I do feel that it does come back. However, as Jackie was saying, if there is a situation where, particularly if someone that you love is being affected quite badly, as a witch, you have the toolkit to deal with it. And if you need to take it further than a binding, then I probably would. But I think it is about taking responsibility. Justice is springing to mind for dealing out justice, perhaps. But I think you can also work with a curse. You'd have to think about it very carefully and how you wanted it to play out. Does it create a bond with that person? I think that would have to come into the curse. And I do with bindings. Once the binding is done, then you need to cut the cords, you need to cut the connection. And I think you would have to do the same with a curse. Once the curse is set into action, you would need to make sure that your cords are not connected to that person. You'd need to cut them and distance yourself from it. It is a big responsibility. Okay, Colin. Yeah. No, don't eat sugar, Colin. It's not good for diabetics. Sue, be careful things don't come back and bite you in the bum. I think this is it. This is about taking responsibility. If you are going to put stuff out there, you've got to take responsibility for that energy that's zipping about. Sephora, can't stand the taste of sugar now. Oh, I wish I couldn't. Kerry, tried the binding a couple of times, but it didn't improve the situation. So I did do the hex, which I felt comfortable doing as I was protecting my family. I think this is it. I think there is perhaps a point. If a binding doesn't work, then you need to bring something stronger into it. I think there is a point, particularly where it involves people that you care about, where you would step into that. It's about owning it, I think, and about being responsible for it. And if you are working with curses, then I would have to assume that you are experienced with witchcraft and you know what you're doing. So there are ways of planning out the spell working to provide as much protection for yourself as well. It is, spells, as I say, are quite detailed and apt to go wrong anyway. So if you're working with a curse, I'm assuming you would be far more careful with how you word it and how you work it. Maria, I performed one on photos of people before I knew what I was doing by dripping wax on their faces and repeating a line 9 times. But I didn't know about grounding and protecting myself, so I rebounded in a bad way. Yes, that's just backed up what I just said. Magic is a power. Magic is a responsibility. And I do absolutely firmly believe you need experience to be able to work spells properly, particularly something along those lines. You need to have the experience and the knowledge behind you to know how to deal with it properly, to stop it from causing any kind of backlash, or, you know, protecting as much as you can. Colin is in the bad books with the cat because I've just used Spawn on her. It has to be done. She's just going to have to suck it up. Can't wait for Gods and Ghosts, but I loved writing that book. I like writing all of the books, but that one was particularly personal to me. Charlie, if I wanted to curse someone, they must be a stinker. Oh, that's a good word. So I definitely don't want a connection. I don't know much about curses. Wouldn't protection and bindings be better? American big freezers, barn size. Yeah, get lots of bodies in there. Yes, Charlie. I think for me, bringing in protection and doing bindings is the go-to. And that's what I have done in the past. But on occasion, if a binding doesn't work, and say perhaps your children are being threatened in some way, curses, I'm not going to say as a last resort, but they are in a witch's arsenal should they be needed. But I would definitely say protection and bindings are better. But if you need to take that extra step, we have the knowledge and the know-how to do it. It's just about taking responsibility. Maria, the water one. If it is unjustified, then karma will hit them. Great harm. I think there is the other side of this is to, and I do often leave it to the universe to meter out what justice the universe sees fit. Absolutely. I think the universe will often step in. But there are situations, and with the bindings I have done, have been generally to do with my children when they have been threatened or in danger at school, and you want to do whatever you can to protect them. So that's when a binding will come in. Kids are horrible to each other. Leslie, I've never wished someone harm spell-wise. That's why I never act in anger. Binding does the trick. It's a good point to mention anger, Leslie. And I think particularly in this kind of situation where you are even considering a binding or a curse, is usually because you are angry about something, because someone has been harmed, someone that you love or care about is being attacked or being harmed. Don't cast a spell in anger, because it will go completely belly up, because you won't be thinking straight and you won't be directing your energy properly. So yes, anger is not when you're angry. Calm down a bit first and then do it. But yeah, bindings would be my go-to. Hannah, weird question. I'm used to weird questions. Could you do a binding spell on yourself to stop you from doing something? Interesting. I'm guessing, you know, a bad habit or something. Yeah. Drinking my coffee so I can think about that one before I answer. Yeah, it's an interesting one, Hannah. I haven't thought about that before. Doing a binding, you are stopping something from happening without causing any harm. It's an interesting one. Off the top of my head, I don't see why not. You are stopping something. You are giving it boundaries. So that might be a better way of thinking about it. Putting boundaries on yourself. Binding's quite a restricted word, isn't it? I think I would go with boundaries, and putting boundaries on yourself to stop yourself from doing whatever it is. Eating too much cake. No, that's never going to happen. Spending too much money. Yeah, that happens. Yes, that's an interesting way of looking at it, Hannah, and I don't see why not. You'd have to think about it very carefully in how you word it, but I think I would go with setting boundaries for yourself rather than binding. But yes, good question. Kerry, is there a difference between hex and curse, or are they two different words for the same thing? The general idea is that hex is just a word, another word for spell, and it can be good, bad, or in between. Curse is generally seen as a negative thing. It is about wishing harm to someone. So hex is a kind of general interchangeable with the word spell. But curse is definitely wanting to wish someone harm. Jane, I've used sympathetic magic to arrange an outcome by making a small model of a sort of happy ending. Is this a mild form of binding? Well, sympathetic magic is what I do all the time. I work with sympathetic. I can't speak. I can't say it, but I work with it quite a lot. Well, generally, most of my magic is sympathetic to arrange an outcome. I like the idea of making a small model of a sort of happy ending. Or anything really, any spell that you put out there, you are manipulating energy. Whether your spell is good, bad, or otherwise, you are sending energy out there that is going to change something. So you are manipulating that energy, and it is going to affect someone somewhere along the line. So I think any spell making is going to have an effect. Whether it is stopping something from happening, then it could be seen as a mild form of binding. But you are manipulating energy with every single spell that you put out there. Even if you think you are just doing a happy little spell to make things better, you are manipulating energy. And I think it is up to every single witch that puts a spell out there to take responsibility for it, because you are going to affect someone or something. It's power, and you have to be responsible for that. Isn't it Spider-Man? With all great power comes responsibility, or something like that. So yes, I would say yes. Anything that you do. But do you like the idea of making little models? That sounds like fun anyway. Sue, why resort to hex or curse someone when it would just be easier if they just leave us alone? Sometimes I think you have to step in. I am going to use the example. One of the examples that I did was for the children. My daughter was being bullied at school. Her and her friend were being bullied. We spoke to the school. The school did what they could, but this other older boy was still bullying them. And it would be lovely if he had just left them alone, that his parents were called into the school. His parents couldn't care less, so they weren't going to take any action. I met the child coming out of the school gates one day. I may have had a few choice words with him, and even that didn't have any effect. So I think there is a point where the mundane resources have all been exhausted. And as a witch, we have these other tools in our kit. I'm going to do all I can to protect my children.
I mean, you were going to sing to him?
I was going to sing. Yeah, I should have sung to him. That would scared him. Yeah. Rude. So I think if you have the magical toolkit and you get to that point, then I absolutely did a binding to protect my child. It was causing her a lot of distress. And so I will do whatever I could to bring that in. And I did a binding. I didn't do a curse. Would I have resorted to a curse eventually? Don't know. The binding worked, so it was all good. I think there are situations where it goes on and on and on and on. And I can see where you would get to a point where you would need to do something stronger than a binding if it didn't work. In an ideal world, people wouldn't be horrible to each other anyway, would they? So, Xenia, I find binding equals stopping a person from doing harm is safer than cursing. Yes. If the other person isn't actually as bad as we thought and you put a curse, it might have a bad outcome. Just preventing that person from harming you is much safer. And yes, I would absolutely suggest bindings first. Your first point of call, definitely. Emma, I felt the need to bind a serial killer in the news a few years ago. He was caught, thankfully, before he harmed someone else. Can't remember his name, but it was in England. There are some really, really evil people in the world, for whatever reason, generally a mental issue of some sort, I would assume. You're not going to be a serial killer if you haven't got mental issues, I wouldn't have thought, but I don't know about the subject, so there you go. Yeah, is there a situation there where you would take it further to curse someone? like that, for instance. But yeah, binding. In that situation, binding, perfect. Lizzie, I don't personally follow the threefold rule, so would happily do a curse if I felt it necessary. Serious harm would leave the door open for me to defend, protect as I thought best. Now, I don't follow the Wiccan Read, the rule of three, the and harm none. I don't. I think it's a very good guideline. And I think it's also taken out of context. People throw around the and harm none as if it's, just chucking out free stuff.
Free.
It is a get out of jail free card. It is you might have heard me rant about this before. People do use it as a kind of disclaimer. I'm going to be really rude to you, and as long as I say and harm none on the end of it, it's all good. I've seen that happen quite a lot. It was not meant for that. And harm none is and harm none. 3 words from a very, very long read, from a very long poem. And if you are going to work with the Wiccan Read, if you're going to follow the threefold rule, research it, read it properly and understand it properly to see what it means and what it was originally intended for. The read does not stop you from protecting yourself or protecting your loved ones or protecting your family. It does not stop you from doing a binding if you need to. I think if you're going to work with it, then you need to research it properly and understand the original meaning of it. There, ran over. But yes, no, I don't follow it too. I think it's again, to me, I don't need a read. I need to be responsible for my own morals and my own way that I treat myself and other people. That's my responsibility. I don't need a read or a rule or anything to tell me how to act as a decent human being. But as I say, I haven't got to that point, but I wouldn't ever rule it out. It's just about understanding how spells work and wording it and laying it out properly, I think, so that it doesn't come back and kick you in the butt. Karen, I bound my grandson's bully and he's in my freezer. Is that a confession, Karen? Yeah, it is. And I think that's probably one of the most common bindings, is to stop people from bullying. And it doesn't actually cover just children, because adults can bully just as much as children do. Which coffee company do you recommend? These coffees come from. Why have you got one on your desk? Oh yeah, London New Tropics. Mojo. It's big words. Too early in the morning for big words. Adaptogenic coffee. This one has cordyceps, which is mushrooms, and ginseng. Oh, I'll be dancing off the ceiling today then. It is barista style coffee, organic mushroom extract, Siberian ginseng, natural flavoring. It's actually really nice. That's 1 sachet, but I only have half a sachet because I'm a bit of a lightweight when it comes to coffee. It is very nice. It does taste really nice too. There's variety. I think there's 3 or 4 different types of them. One's a calming one. This one's apparently going to give me energy. London New Tropics, very nice. Do recommend them. Christine, make a poppet and tie an address you want to send someone away. Make sure it's biodegradable. Pop it and then throw it into a river to get rid of someone. Poppets are brilliant. I would work naturally with something like natural twine or corn husks, something like that. I would probably bury it rather than throw it into the water, because that has all kinds of eco issues. But yes, that's a perfect way of doing it. Perfect. Jane, every freezer should have an oubliette at the bottom for spells. Do you think that's a selling point, isn't it? Perhaps we should contact one of the fridge companies to do a witchcraft fridge that has a special little hidey hole for all the spells. I like it. Maria, toilet one's the simplest. Yeah, write the person's name on a piece of toilet paper and flush them down the loo. Preferably after you've done your business. Just saying. It does work very well. Good old flushing toilet. Helen, I know it's obvious, but I never do a curse in anger. Perhaps it isn't obvious though, Helen. That is possibly when you think about doing a curse, is when you are really angry. Only ever did once, and the comeback on me was awful. I must add, no one was hurt. I always say this: never work a spell when you are angry or when you are feeling poorly, because your mind isn't going to be in the right headspace for it. You need to be clear-headed to think about how to structure it and how to put it together. It is very wise words, very wise words. Claire, banishing spell after curse if you want them out of your life. Banishing spells are a whole other thing as well, aren't they? Banishing is about removing something from your life. The binding will stop someone from harming you. A curse will cause them harm. Banishing is about getting rid of someone. So if you want them to move house or move away from you, then I would probably do a banishing rather than a binding. You just have to be careful again with banishing spells about what you're getting rid of. And I use the same old story each time, and I'm going to do it again. When I very first started out on this pathway, I thought negative energy is bad. I want to get rid of all that. So I worked a spell to banish all negative energy from my life. The thing is, once you banish negative energy, it leaves a void. And there ain't nothing that loves a void better than more negative energy. So as soon as you banish all the negative energy, it leaves a great big hole and negative energy comes flooding back in. So if you banish negative energy, remember to fill it with positive afterwards. It's about making changes. So you need to put something else in its place. But what I found when I banished negative energy is that everyone's got a bit of negative energy in them. Lots of things have a bit of a balance of negative and positive. Think about a battery. It won't work with just positive energy. It needs positive and negative to make it work. So I'd banished all negative energy, and I found that people were drifting off. Friends, relationships were all kind of falling apart because I had banished everything, blanket banished it. It's not a good plan. You do have to be specific. I think after a curse, you might want to cut ties with that specific person or banish that specific person. It spells. You have to be kind of, you've got to really think them through. Good morning, Naomi. Yes, the famous doggy poo bag. Dog poo bags are brilliant for getting rid of things. Yes, once the contents are inside it, write the person's name or whatever it is you want to get rid of, and this includes bad habits too. Write that on a piece of paper, pop it in the doggy poo bag with the contents and chuck it in the doggy poo bin. It will decompose, it will break down, and as it does so, the magic will work. We love a dog poo bag. Morning, Lani. Protection from people who throw out unjustified spell work unto others is not a wise thing to do because it can backfire. Everything can backfire. It is about taking responsibility, and I think this is possibly a situation as well where you need to make sure that the person who you think is cursing or putting out negative energy is actually doing so, and for the wrong reasons. This is about people's free will. This is about making sure that your facts are all straight. And it can, all of it can backfire. But you've used the word there, unjustified spell work. You have unjustified in your opinion. They might think that they are doing justified spell work. There's quite a blurry line here, and I think it goes back again to responsibility. People that throw out unjustified spell work, you have, in your opinion, they might think they're justified. Who makes that decision that someone is doing something wrong? We get into this whole explosion now of people having opinions about various subjects. What makes you right and them wrong, or vice versa?
An opinion isn't.
An opinion is an opinion, yeah. I think it's a very tricky situation to be able to have an opinion about what someone else is doing, or even to be sure that that other person is doing what you think they're doing. This is where I think curses are on a little bit of a dodgy ground. You have to make sure that if you are going to curse someone, that they are the person responsible for the actions, the words, whatever. And why are they doing it? Do you know why they're doing it? Is there something underlying to it? It's a tricky area. It is definitely a tricky area. Christine, poppets can be made with dough. Fish can nibble it too. Fish food poppet. Bird food poppet. Put it out in the garden for the birds. I like where you're going with that, Christine. Jane, getting down and dirty with magic requires a magical kind of soap. Soap we can help with. Bewitched Botanicals, magical soap. They sorted. And actually, you can work magic with soap. I have talked about this before. Soap is a brilliant ingredient to work magic with. A few shavings of soap in something to make things clean, or to cleanse things, clear things out. You need your Bewitched Botanicals soap. I wished I had a dog. Depends what dog. Eric's very noisy. I'm not sure he'd be very good in a knife fight. Emma, how about using crochet or knitting or knotting in general for curses, hexes, and bindings? Repeat the spell whilst working and then get rid of it. Crochet and knitting is magical in itself. You can knit and crochet your intent into the stitches, absolutely. And it's all a form of knot magic. So absolutely, yeah, that would be brilliant. And wool is very good as well for binding. Just make sure it's the cotton stuff rather than the polyester so that it biodegrades. Yeah, good idea. Sephora, Mother Nature's being a right bitch here at the moment. She's being a bit severe all over the world. Have we been hexed? Yeah, you've got flooding problems, haven't you? Yeah, the world is, the earthquakes as well. Oh, heartbreaking. I think Mother Nature is fighting back. We have damaged her planet, and we continue to damage her planet. I'm not surprised that she's fighting back. Get the phone, will you? I'm not surprised she's fighting back. I'm really not. Charlie, don't know much about curses. Thanks. Right, now, actually, let me put this out here. The very lovely Heather from Kitchen Witch has done a series of blogs and videos on curses and hexes. They are going up on the Kitchen Witch blog and the Kitchen Witch YouTube channel at the moment. So if you want more information about curses, hexes, bindings, do have a look at the Kitchen Witch blog and the Kitchen Witch YouTube channel, because Heather has done a series of them, because she's a superstar. Kerry, whilst I was still married to my violent ex-husband, he pushed me over the edge one evening and I screamed a sort of curse at him before he left to drive his taxi. He didn't die but had a near miss. I think big positive energy to you, my lovely, for having to deal with that. Yeah, I think we do, don't we? And I think words have power. It's why we use them in spells, because words have power. And I can absolutely understand that because of the anger and hurt and upset that would have been there. It's powerful, powerful words. Witches' bottles ward against such things that have been targeted against you and your family. We're witches. We can work with protection in all sorts of ways. Witch bottles are excellent to protect against negative energy. I also think, interesting point you've raised there. I get quite a few emails from people saying, I've been hexed, I've been cursed, my family is under a bad curse, I don't know how to get rid of it. Let me just reassure you that in my over 30 years, the instances of people actually being powerful enough to hex an entire family, curse an entire family, are very slim. What actually happens is someone believes they have been cursed. And this is where poppets, the magic of poppets, come in. If you see that someone has made a poppet or a war bottle or some kind of curse for you, once you've seen it, that's planted in your head. You then add the energy to that. If you believe you've been cursed, if you believe that your family has a curse on it, every time something bad happens, and bad stuff happens, you blame it on the curse. And what you're doing is adding energy to it. You're adding energy to your own little black rain cloud. The curse may have been very weak at first, if at all, but because that thought was planted in your head, you're then adding negative energy to it. I think that's part of how a curse works, to be honest. But yes, we can bring in all sorts of protection to ourselves to protect against negative energy. Yeah, we're witches. That's what we do. Kerry, in a lane where I said he would, when it happened, he knew it was me. I think good is the only answer that I can say to that one, Kerry. He knew that he got what he deserved. Maria, hexes symbols. Heart is a hex. There is a Pennsylvania Dutch, I believe it is. Hex is a whole range of symbols. There's birds and hearts and flowers, and they would draw them and make them into patterns and paint them on the outside of their houses or on their doors to provide protection. So yes, absolutely. Jane, even if we don't plan to do cursing and hexing, we still need to learn all about them so we can see these things coming and deal with them. Defense against the dark arts. We have a lesson on curses and hexes and bindings within the Kitchen Witch School. And the point of it is that knowledge is power. Understanding how curses work, understanding how bindings and banishings work is knowledge. If you have knowledge about them, then all the better. You know how to recognize one and you know how to deal with it if it is aimed at you. Whether you choose to work with it is your choice. Lizzie, you should never do any work in the heat of strong emotion. Doesn't work as well and potential for error. Wise words, very wise words. Kerry, what do you think about the hoodoo oils like banishing, etc.? I've got a book on it, Kerry. I love working with hoodoo. Hoodoo is a magical practice. Like witchcraft, it's a magical practice. It is generally associated with areas such as New Orleans. It is generally believed to be from African American slaves. What it is actually very much influenced by European folk magic as well. There are a lot of stuff in hoodoo that is worked by European folk magic historically, gypsy magic historically, and I use that term with great respect. It is folk magic, and you will find in hoodoo witch bottles and poppets and all of the things that as a kitchen hedge witch I work with. There is a very big crossover of stuff, and hoodoo oils are just essential oil blends that we use in witchcraft. If you work as a root worker and you work with hoodoo, generally the idea of a reed or the rule of three it doesn't come into your vocabulary. If you are a root worker, you do what you believe to be right. And again, they do take responsibility for that. But there are all sorts of hoodoo type essential oil blends. Hot foot powder I use a lot. That's a hoodoo recipe. Five Thieves vinegar, hoodoo recipe. But they are essentially essential oil blends. And some of them are very, very good. But it doesn't have to be hoodoo. It's just witchcraft. It's just folk magic. And it's all about intent as well. And the blends they bring in herbal magic. So they bring in layers of herbal magic. So they're all very good. Maria, you could bind the behavior or habit rather than yourself. Yes, this is going back to the query about using bindings for yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Angela, as a last resort, I did a binding on someone, made it very clear not to harm them, but to stop them harassing, threatening violence and spreading lies about me. Used natural materials, buried it to rot. That is a perfect description of a binding, Angela. Absolutely spot on. It needed to be a slow burn, and thankfully it worked. Brilliant. Self-discipline to stop anything that's not healthy for you. Yeah, not all of us have that. It's willpower. Sometimes we need a little bit of magic to help us with that. Kerry, can you use binding to stop people gossiping, talking behind your back? Yes, you can, absolutely. And would the freezer spell help? Yes, that would work. I would tend to lean towards a binding, or I would tend to lean towards a spell to stop the person, just a general spell to stop the person gossiping, talking behind your back. And I would involve cloves. Cloves are my go-to ingredient for stopping people gossiping about you. They work really well for that. And I would work with a straightforward spell. If it carries on, then I would go with the binding. Yes, absolutely. I speak powerful words of binding over myself and my grown children. That is the most powerful way for me. I bring in protection. I bring in protection for my children, specifically, and my husband. When they go out the door, I will speak words of power to bring in protection. Jane, rivers are great carriers of magic. They are, because they have the flow, don't they? They have the flow of water. I think it is just about being mindful that whatever you put into the water will end up in the ecosystem of the water. Antoinette, when you bind someone, are you binding them to yourself too? Becoming their caretaker. I think when you do a binding, you need to remember afterwards to cut ties with them. It's just a kind of little bit of a disclaimer on the end of it that you've bound them and stopped them from harming you, and just cut ties as well. And then you're cutting ties physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole shebang, just to make sure. Kerry, there used to be a load of fake gypsies in the area who tried to curse you if you wouldn't buy their lucky heather. I know I didn't buy it lots. Yeah, they're famous for selling lucky heather, aren't they? It's one of those things, historic things. It's a shame, really, because I think the whole Romany gypsy pathway, journey, culture, that's the word, is fascinating. And I know people that are very proud of their Romany heritage. It's just a shame that, like a lot of things, people come in to spoil it. Xenia, harm none, take no poop. I'm tailoring it so that I don't get banned. What can you suggest to do for a serious binding on behalf of your grown child who lives thousands of miles away? My son is in serious spiritual trouble. Any suggestions, please? I think it's difficult when it is in this kind of situation. You aren't binding someone to protect yourself from them, if that makes sense. They aren't bullying you. They aren't bullying your child. Binding, I think, is perhaps a wrong thing to use there. If your son is in serious spiritual trouble, I would talk to him. Communication would be my first step there. If you are binding someone that for their own good, for want of a better term, you are very much interfering with free will. So I think you would need, my recommendation would be to speak to them first. They may be on a pathway that's right for them. We're back to, is it right or wrong? Are they doing things because they believe it's the right thing to do? It's a bit of a tricky situation. Communication would be my recommendation for that one first. Jane, I think the threefold rule is more about balancing than punishing. It's really only a one-fold law. I think it is one of those things that's very misunderstood. I think it is something that has been tempered maybe over time and misunderstood. If you're going to work with it, then it's about understanding it as well, isn't it? Jane, make a poppet, feed it slippery elm and seal its mouth with yellow wax. Job done. Like it. Sorted. Xenia, I'm not Wiccan, but I read from Fred Le Monde that the threefold law was meant, if someone does you good, you should do good 3 times of the good you received. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I think it is, as I understand it, it works that way. And then it works the other way as well. If you do something wrong, then quite often it will come back to you 3 times. But I think it's about lessons. So if you do something if you do something and it goes wrong, or you do something and it puts you in a situation, you may well have to do that 3 times before you learn the lesson, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's all about energy. It's about behavior. It's about what you put out there. Xenia, yes, I do have mushroom coffee, basically. It's got real coffee in it too. Jackie, I tried binding once for something serious that was happening to us, but this person seemed hell-bent on destroying us using the nothing personal is business, and then proceeded to wreck our lives. The ripples affected people around us, and it was a nasty, nasty time. That is just sucks. I'm going to, because it's cut it off there, I'm going to sit down, realise that once I'd come down and let some time pass, it did something bigger. No qualms, but a curse. I think there are situations where you are pushed to the limit, and there are situations where a curse would come into play, but it's about taking responsibility for it. Lizzie, I did a spell once to keep my nasty neighbours under control. We share a boundary. Took a little while to take effect. There are 3 of them, but it worked. I can't share the spell on here. Oh, I think it is, again, about taking control of a situation as well. Karen, I think doing a banishing, you have to be totally sure you don't want to see them again. My friend did one in haste and anger, and years later still regrets it. Yes, banishing gets rid of stuff. You know, you've got to be really sure that you want it all to disappear. Jane, write someone's name on a sticky label, stick it under your shoe and walk them into oblivion. I like that. Or name a jelly baby after them and eat it. The eating thing has come up before, and I'm not sure about that. Would you want that energy in you, or are you thinking it works its way through your system and then comes out in the place where you want it to be? Sue, how about binding someone to stop them harming themselves? It's the whole free will thing, isn't it? But I think there are possibly situations where it is your last resort. If it is someone that you care about and it has come to that point, I think it has to be taken on an individual situation. Realize jelly babies. Jane, so that's why sometimes clearing a house of negative energy doesn't work for long. Every exorcism needs to be balanced with an invitation for something positive to enter. Yes, when I smudge my house, when I clear out the negative energy, at the same time, I bring in the positive. It is about replacing that negative with a positive. Otherwise, it just fills up again. Kerry, if you banish then add positivity, what about, is there anything you do after? If you do a positive bring in spell, I will do a banishing negative energy. When I do the house smudge, I will clear up negative energy, and then I will bring in the positive, and that's it. Sometimes it has to be redone again, because negative energy does creep back in. Christine, I added some rose hips into a bag of dog poop. I imagine beautiful roses growing from it. Or, see, when I think of rose hips, I think of itching powder. I'm just saying. Jane, there's good and bad in every sector, even jelly babies. Yeah. Janet, what are jelly babies? Gummy bears, human-shaped gummy bears. They are jelly sweets shaped like little tiny babies, basically. Jane, you could make a poppet by mixing bird seed with fat and letting it set in a gingerbread person cutter. That would be perfect. That would be perfect. Christine, I would not eat a jelly baby named after someone being a veggie, but certainly would feed the dogs with them. You can get vegetarian ones, can't you? You can get vegan jelly babies, can't you? Jane, it's not all about nature fighting back. It's quite dangerous to build on tectonic plates and floodplains in the first place. Yeah, I think we perhaps didn't understand a lot of places first where we built things on. Yeah, nature it moves. The planet moves, doesn't it? It's one of those things. Emma, I had a witch brag to me in a red inked letter that she had cursed me for walking my path. So I took that letter, walked all over it, and said that I return her curse back to her. Good on you, Emma. Good on you. Liza, Lizzie, yes, been watching Heather's videos. Excellent information, balance clear. Brilliant. Yeah, she's an absolute superstar. So do have a look. Do have a look. Sephora's cat's just brought in a live rabbit. Oh, that's fun and games. Jackie, okay. Lost a house, job, money, etc. It was deliberate by ex-business partner. Thought long and hard over a few years. Actually, we felt we were still being attacked on another level after the event by them, so big guns came out. First bound them from doing harm to others and then resorted to curses. I think there will be situations where you get to the point. Yeah, I absolutely understand it. Maria, placing your besom upside down at your doorway is protection. Yeah, it's having your besom upside down in your porch is to stop unwanted visitors for sure. This subject could be discussed for hours, Maria, and I'm very well aware we've gone way over it time than we normally do. At the end of all bindings, curses, it's all about what intent you're putting into it. Would never wish harm, but I certainly would send them away or leave the place. You are right. It is all down to intent. Charlie, Gypsy Magic would like to know more. My great aunt was Romany. When I was sitting next to lots of Indian gypsies on holiday, my Spanish friend kept on staring at me and afterwards told me, I know you. Gypsy Magic is fascinating. You finding actual information written by real Roman gypsies is sparse. But if you look at folk magic, you will find that there are an awful lot of crossovers. Sylvia, I'm from Gypsy Romanian ancestors, would love to know more about the ways of working with witchcraft. It is difficult to find information. Look for folk magic and look for folk magic in your particular area where your ancestry comes from. Helen, a couple of really good videos on YouTube about Romanian witches. Excellent, thank you. Diane, the Indian principle of karma is regarding what we do in this lifetime to influence how we come back in the next lifetime rather than what comes back to us in the here and now. Yes, karma is not necessarily for this lifetime, is it? It can, we could be now paying for what we did in previous lifetimes and paying it forward as well. It's, yeah. Trudy, hold a pebble from the stream or river, attach your spell binding to it mentally. Yes. And then throw it. Yes, I've done that at the ocean with a pebble in the ocean. Yeah. Thank you, Christine. I'm looking at all these comments. I think we've covered nearly everything. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sephora's just dealing with the rabbit. That's fun and games. Lani, does the negative mean when all the cake has been eaten, then replaced with new cake? Oh, obviously. You know me so well. Charlie, my great nan was a Roman. He couldn't write. Yeah, that's the thing. Imagine a lot of folk magic was oral. It was, and passed on down through families. Yes, it was. But if you're interested in folk magic in your culture, in your area that you live in the culture that your family comes from, have a look for folk magic in your particular culture. Hopefully there will be something, but sometimes it's difficult to find the information because a lot of it was oral. So we've gone way over an hour, and Eric's singing to let me know. We finished now, handsome. Yeah, we finished now. So thank you, everyone. Fascinating topic. I think, as always, it's about taking responsibility for your words, for your actions. What you do with the energy of magic is your call, absolutely. Just take responsibility for it. So thank you all for joining me. Have a fantastic weekend. If you are interested in more information about curses and hexes, do look at the Kitchen Witch blog and the Kitchen Witch YouTube channel, because Heather's done some lovely information on there. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all again soon.